All right. Fernando Comet. He wants to do some rotating of a circle while scrolling a section. When scrolling over this div with class name content, I want to make that circle on the left rotate. How should I approach it? He's got a publish link here and a read-only link that I already have open. I've already posted my solution, spoiler alert, but I'll just go into how I did it here real quick. So here's his project in Webflow. I'll switch to the desktop breakpoint. The way he's got it set up, he has this content box that has a bunch of these other boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside it. And the content has overflow of auto, and that's what's allowing us to scroll inside of the box. It does take up more space than, like, I can scroll the outer window as well, the body. I'm not sure if he meant that or not. He didn't set any max heights or anything. Anyways, the way he wrote it, I'm assuming he wants that scrolling over this div with class name content means scrolling inside of that div. And then he's got the circle over here. And so what I came up with, this is his site here, is to, I'm going to close this. That's from a previous one. So const content equals $, and then I've got content. This is a class name here because it's got the dot. You might notice that in Webflow it's capitalized, but here I have it lowercase. That is just because Webflow, when you publish, will actually convert them all to lowercase, and it removes any spaces or anything too. So I always just use lowercase, and I use them lowercase in Webflow as well. So that's going to get this box here with a class of content. Go back to sources, and then I also want to select the circle. So I'll get the circle. You'll see if I just, this is jQuery here because the $, and Webflow automatically loads up jQuery. So that returns this jQuery object. So I have those two, and now I want to use a jQuery event listener. I want to use scroll, so I want to know when this thing scrolls. Let's do something. If I were to just remove this and say console.log scrolling, save, and now I'm going to run with command enter. Now when I scroll, you see we get in our console logging that we're scrolling. And then when I stop scrolling, it stops. So let me put that back in here. Save. And the main thing we want to do is we want to rotate it. Now, here's some math. Don't be scared. We'll get to that. I can comment that out. But so we already know that we're listening to the scroll, and then this here we're gonna run a function when anytime that scrolls, and now we can define what we want that function to do. So we'll get the circle, and the circle we're gonna set a CSS property on it. We want to set the transform, and the transform that we want to set is this rotate Z, which if you're familiar with the Webflow designer interface is down here in transforms, the rotate Z, this one here. And we have to give it a number of degrees to rotate. So I specified that as rotation. Something you could do is, let's see, I'll do some example stuff here in the console real quick. Let's take content, make sure we get something. So content dot scroll top gives us the distance that we are from the top of the box. So right now we're at the very top. Let's say I scroll down a little bit and run that again. Now I'm at 1038. All the way down, I'm at 2360. And that'll change, you know, depending on how your responsive design is set up. So now it's 2152. And I mean, you could just plug that right in here. So what did we want? Content dot scroll top. And I'm gonna save and command enter to run it. Oh, and it's not working. What did I do? Scroll T top. Get rid of that little T. Nope, another one. It didn't save. Let me refresh. And now I'm gonna run it. Okay, now you can see we've got our circle spinning, and the rotation is just being set by this value of content.scroll top. If I go to, but it's probably too fast for what he wants. jQuery scroll top. Just go into the documentation and show you. Get the current vertical position of scroll bar for the first element in the set of matched elements. So now what we want to do is we want to Say I'm just assuming we want to rotate it a full 360 degrees. You could decide on your use case how much you want to rotate it, but that's what I'm doing in this rotation variable here. So I'm declaring a variable called rotation, and I could change this to const. Actually, I'm going to leave it as let. I don't think I can reassign it because I'm inside. Let's see. Dun dun dun. We're taking a minor diversion so that I can learn something new. Well, it works if we declare it as const. Anyways, that's kind of besides the point. It makes sense because we're running a new function, so we're setting a new scope each time. That's how I'm thinking about it in my head. Anyways, let's carry on. So what we want to do is we want to get a percentage of the total height of this div that we've scrolled. So like right now I'm at 0%. If I'm all the way down at the bottom, then I should be at 100%. And if I'm in the middle, somewhere around here, 50%. The way we can do that is we take that scroll top value that tells us how far we are from the top, and now we divide it by the total scrollable height, which is this content.prop.scrollHeight, and then we're subtracting content.height. Now content.height is just going to be the height of this container here without any scrollable features. So you can see as I'm expanding the page and his responsiveness is making this come down further, it's getting taller and taller until it'll reach there. Let's see. You can see the scroll bar appears because now I can scroll the body. I'm wondering if there's no, it's still scrolling. So it gets bigger and bigger, but that's fine. And then the other one is the content.prop.scrollHeight. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it down here. We can see that's 2912. And if we go all the way to the bottom and call content.scrollTop, it's not quite 29.12 because we have to add the actual height. So if we said, let's see, content.scrollTop plus content.height, we should expect this to be 2912 pretty much. It's pretty close. It's off by less than 0.1. So coming back to our equation here, so distance from top divided by the total distance we're allowed, and then we take that whole thing and multiply by 360 because we have this. Now this gives us a percentage of the circle that we have essentially traversed or traveled, and then we multiply that by 360 for a full spin. And now I'm just going to refresh and I'm going to run. And now as we go all the way to the bottom, we go exactly 360 degrees. If I change this to say 180, we should expect the circle to only go halfway. It's a lot slower now. And so you could just adjust that to depending on how many spins you want from that circle. I'm assuming he has a different use case and he just set this up as an example for somebody to help him out with. But I always appreciate when people have these cool examples. So yeah, hope that helped. And that is how to rotate circle while scrolling section.